feel a little bit like fall weather down here in Florida, which calls for some good old comfort food. On today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make my famous Smokehouse mac and cheese. This was always a big hit in my restaurant with always my smoked meats. Let's cook, guys. Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody, to another episode of Cooking with Chef Threads. Thank you for joining. On today's recipe, I'm making my famous Smokehouse mac and cheese. Every time I would do like a smoked brisket or a smoked chicken, turkey, etc., I used to like to pair this mac and cheese with the smoked meats. Just forewarning, this dish is extremely heavy. There's a lot of cheese in it, so it is a very, very heavy dish, but it pairs very, very well with meat in that aspect. So to start off, we're just going to do some fresh garlic, fresh shallot, and I like to put this in a food processor to make it very, very emulsified. And as you can see me doing here. And then also, there's 4 different types of cheeses in this recipe. And obviously, we're using it's called Smokehouse. I like to use smoked cheeses. So the first one here is our smoked Gouda. Now what you see me doing here is I'm removing the smoke layer of the cheese. And that's a very important step here because that will not melt down. And you don't want to have those chunks laying around in your cheese sauce. So it's very important to remove those outer layers of smoke on these cheeses. So here we are with the smoked Gouda, removing the layer of smoke, chopping up into just bite-sized cubes. It's going to melt down. And here, this is the other cheese I'm using. It's a smoked cheddar. So same thing. Remove the smoke layer from the cheese. And try not to take a whole lot of cheese with it because you don't want to throw away extra cheese. But you could use those smoked cheeses, the parts you've cut off, for any type of like a base, or just make sure you remove that because it's not going to melt. But you could use it for other things as well. Same thing, just chop this thing up, small bite-sized cubes. And again, this was smoked cheddar. And next we have our white cheddar. I used a very sharp white cheddar just to give it that nice balance. And then everybody knows my obsession with Velvetta cheese. Can't help it. I love it. It's such a good cheese, especially for mac and cheese. It's almost like a necessity. But all jokes aside, the Velvetta, I don't know, it just makes it a very, well, no pun intended, but a very velvet texture to the cheese sauce. So that is why I use the Velvetta. And I'm not using a whole lot. As you can see, all these cheeses that I'm using, this batch was for maybe about 6 people. So the cheeses that you see on the screen were not a whole lot, but again, it's a very heavy dish, so it's thick cheese sauce. The chives will be coming at the very end. I like to garnish that. I like to garnish our mac and cheese with the chive. Nice, fresh taste to our mac and cheese. So to begin our cooking process, let's start with a heavy amount of butter on a medium to high heat. We're going to brown up our garlic and shallot. And you're going to notice too as well that I do not put any salt in this recipe at all. There is no salt. It does not need it. Between the cheeses and I put a little bit of chicken base in there, it just does not need it. So again, with the Smokehouse, this I like to add, this is the smoked Chipotle Tabasco sauce that Chipotle made famous. They seem to have it in every single one of their restaurants, and this is very, very good in this recipe, and I feel like it really makes it too. So, and then we're going to hit it with some smoked paprika, as well as some white pepper. I like to use white pepper because it gives it a little bit of an extra bite. I mean, pepper is bitey too, but white pepper just seems to have that better bite to it. and it also mixes very, very well with cheese sauces or veloutes or bechamel, any type of a cream sauce. And then here I'm adding in the wet chicken base, and that's, that could be salty as well. So that's why I'm not adding any salt to this recipe whatsoever. So just get all this combined and incorporated. And then we're going to add a little bit of flour to here and create a roux. Now, when adding the flour, you got to cook that out, so that way you don't taste that flour taste. So that's what we're doing here before we add any of our cream, cheeses, any of that. Make sure you cook out your flour, and you'll see it starting to bubble up, as you see right here. And once you start seeing it bubble it up like that, now you know that it's pretty much ready to add any type of your liquid, which we're adding cream. And I'm going to add heavy cream, and I'm also going to add in regular milk as well. I like to do both. I like to use both only because it's a nice balance. So once we add both of our heavy cream in and our regular milk, just get everything incorporated here, and then you're going to start to see it bubbling up. That means that our flour is being activated and is now becoming a cheese, like a cream sauce. And now I'm turning down the heat to about a medium to a simmer, because now we're going to get ready to start adding our cheeses. Now there is no rhyme or reason as to which one I do first. Just throw them all in, or you can do however you want, but just make sure they're evenly spaced out. You don't want to have big clumps laying around in there. So I'm just trying to evenly space them out. And then now I have the heat all the way down to a low. You don't want to burn your cheese sauce, and then just let these cheeses just naturally melt down. I'm adding a little bit more milk to it. I noticed that it was a little thick, so I'm just adding a little bit more milk, regular milk to it, not heavy cream, regular milk. And that's fine. I mean, you can do that. You can just kind of judge it by eye, and if you see that it's starting to get a little too thick, then just, add a little bit more milk to it to help thin it out. We already see some of these cheeses already starting to melt. It shouldn't take long. This took me maybe about not even 10 minutes for this cheese to melt. And there we go. There's our beautiful cheese sauce. Nice consistency there. And I've always enjoyed using shells for the pasta that goes into our cheese sauce. Why? Because it seems like the cheese sauce gets kind of inside the shells and it really holds the cheese well, and you get that nice big cheese pockets when you're taking a bite of it. So cook our shells and then add it to our cheese sauce. Get everything incorporated here together, and that's it, guys. This recipe is so good. I mean, I can't even describe to you the flavors that come out of it, especially when that smoked paprika gets cooked out and the smoked Tabasco, and then all these different cheeses come together. It's just a beautiful thing. Like I said, it gets paired so well with smoked meats, or like especially with the smoked turkey breast or smoked turkey all together. And then, like I said, I like to garnish it with some fresh chives. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. And please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. I can't even begin to describe you what those flavors taste like. You guys have got to try this recipe. Don't forget the threads, baby.